Hey guys, Alex here, ajnashville.com, here with Mr. Bradley Stinson.
What up, dude?
And Mr. Lewis. Is it Lewis today or is it Luis? Which one? Okay, we're settling on Luis. He went back to the... You must have found out that Trump didn't get his funding for that wall or something. He suddenly went back to...
I donated to it.
So anyways, I want to have a podcast here. We're going to talk about something a little more in depth than our past couple podcasts, something that, you know, hits a lot of people at home, and that's transitioning into civilian life. Now, I know very early on in the podcast, we talked about something similar to this. It was a little bit different in circumstance. The gentleman we had on prior, my good friend, Mr. Doug Cook, spent years and years and years in his whole career in the Army. So we're going to talk about somebody that was, I can't say was a Marine, but is a Marine, and went and fought for our country and came back and had to kind of find his way through life. And I think the difference between that and this is you have a person that spent their whole career as an Army or enlisted in the Army, and now you have a person who was, you know, a good portion of their youth into their 20s that was in the Marines and is now trying to figure out life, you know, on an earlier start. So, Brad, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, man.
So, Mr. Brad Stinson starts off, you got out of high school, fresh out of school, and Marine Corps said, hey, Uncle Sam wants you, come on.
Well, it wasn't right out of high school. It was 2004 is when I enlisted. I graduated in 2000. I went to college, my first attempt at college, on a baseball scholarship. At 18 years old, you don't really want to spend the entire day playing baseball.
You look like a baseball player, though.
And I wanted to partake in college activities. Let's leave it at that. All right. So, fast forward a couple years, 21-year-old Brad, I always joke around that 21-year-old Brad would have kicked the living shit out of, or 18-year-old Brad would have kicked the living shit out of 21-year-old Brad just from the life choices I was making. Yeah. Just being an idiot. I drank away a baseball scholarship, partied it away, just making stupid decision after stupid decision, as we all do. Right. I'm a huge advocate for making
dumb
mistakes.
Decisions. Yeah.
I have no regrets in my life.
No.
And a huge reason is because you learn from it.
Right.
Right. But at 21 years old, it was 2003, the war started kicking off. Mm-hmm. And I needed to get out. I needed to do something. I had something calling me, like a greater passion, like a greater good type feeling. So I enlisted, and not to offend you, but you know, I didn't want to join the armed forces and sit on the sidelines. Right. Right. If I was going to do it, I was going to fucking
go hard. Yeah.
You know? So I wanted to join the A team, the varsity team.
Right.
And I don't mean that as a knock, dude. So please don't take it that way. I joined the Marine Corps, 2004, and yippee-ki-yay, here we go, right? Yeah. Got to see the world.
The sandy part of the world.
Well, my first deployment, I went out on a MEU. A MEU, the whole purpose of a MEU, there's 2 MEUs out at all times. Yeah. And it's to have boots on the ground within 12 hours anywhere in the world. So right. One that leaves Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, one that leaves Camp Pendleton, and we could be anywhere in the world before you know it, right?
And MEU is what?
A MEU, Marine Expeditionary Unit. Typically, the teens are coming out of Camp Pendleton, I believe, and like the 10th and 11th are coming out of Camp Lejeune. I could be completely wrong with those numbers.
So were you a Hollywood Marine? Nice.
Yeah. We hump hills, man.
Yeah. Good work.
I mean, nothing like humping Mount Motherfucker after 3 days of no sleep, you know?
Right.
This hill that just never stopped.
Yeah.
But so I went out on the MEU. This was supposed to be a non-combat deployment. We're like, oh, hell yeah. You know, we're going to go see the world, go do some cool stuff, play dog and pony shows here, there, and everywhere. Right. Come back home. Well, get into Africa, and dog and pony show for 45 days is what it was supposed to be. Day 18, Marines mount up, we're going to Iraq. Oh, roger that. So get back on ship, shave our heads, go do some business, go do what Marines do. Yep. Come back home and gear up for another deployment. So at the time, in 2007, knowing what I know now, it was the surge. Yeah. We didn't know it then. all the politics of the time within the Marine Corps, they really, really wanted people to re-enlist. And one of the main hooks was, hey, guess what? We're going to send you overseas, and you can re-enlist over there. We'll give you the opportunity to re-enlist overseas, because guess what? It's all tax-free.
Yeah.
Well, no, motherfucker. I'm not doing it. So I had to deploy for 4.5 months. And the hardest thing I ever had to do was leave my unit in country, over there, overseas, and come back home to this wonderful thing called the transition that nobody talks about.
Well, and let me rewind you a little bit. You entered into country at a time where the place you were going to, or where you were at, was one of the most dangerous places on earth.
Yeah.
There was people, I'm sure, that you arrived there with that you did not leave with. Well, in your case, you left at a position where your time was up and it was time to come home. So there was a team that was still there that you felt like you left, I'm sure. Did that have any resemblance to you leaving the baseball team in college?
No,
the separation
totally different.
The only reason why I wonder that is because you have two separations of teams, so to speak. And I didn't know if there was a resemblance in your mind there, or if that was just kind of one of those things you looked at as two separate occasions in life.
Like the bond that I had with my team,
right,
as a Marine, cannot be broken.
Right.
It is stronger than anything that you will ever feel.
Yeah.
It's almost like a father, if you will. That bond, right? It's even tighter because I don't.
You trust each other. Your life is in the person's hands to the right of you, and you need to know that shit pops off.
Yeah.
They're going to have your back and not take off running.
They're going to react the same way I am.
Right, and that's the reason why we don't have the volunteer. Everybody's required when they turn 18 to join the military because you don't want someone skirting off if you're under a firefight or something like that.
Correct. So, both deployments, we were actually pretty fortunate. We got shot at, returned fire, got blown up, all that good stuff. Everybody came back. We're good.
Nice.
So we left with the same amount of Marines.
Yeah.
We came in with, right, which is great.
Right.
Great.
Right.
That's a great deployment.
Yep.
No matter what we did. So I flew back home in November 2007, and I was getting out in January 2008. So thank you, Marine Corps. One more time, green weenie. Here we go. Right. So I had a good 40 days to transition out.
Yeah.
So they just spent the past 4 years training me to kill.
Right.
And you're telling me you're gonna take just a little over a month to transition me, teach me how to be a real
That's like
person.
Lent, 40
exactly.
days.
So part of your out processing is a TAMS class. Talk over the VA benefits and everything. Now, I can tell you that if anybody, all these questionnaires that were out there,
Right.
Did you see anything that could be considered horrific? If you marked over I don't recall if you marked over a 3 or under a 3, you were on hold, psych hold.
Right.
So everybody lied about it.
Yeah.
Because if we said, I have nightmares.
Right.
Guess what? I'm not leaving.
You're not going home.
I'm not going on leave.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna fucking lie. Right. So I know I wasn't the only one that lied.
Right.
So flew back home with 10 to 15 Marines from my unit. The rest were still over there. January 19th, 2008 comes around. I hop, skipped, and jumped right down to the S1 admin check at 12:01 a.m. Picked up my DD-214, happiest day of my life.
Right.
All right. Boozing and drinking commenced as Marines do. Caught a flight from Los Angeles, I believe, at 5:45 a.m. So we drank throughout the night.
I was going to say, there's no point in going to sleep at that. You're 12:01, you're out.
So I'm high. I'm just high as you can possibly be. Just ecstatic. I just did something that most people have never done.
Yeah.
Right. I'm part of the 10%. Right. I went to war twice, came back. I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Right. I did this badass shit.
You're invincible.
And I come home. I'm like, oh hell yeah, man. It's amazing what happens.
Yeah.
When you leave this place that you just loathed. Right. Like I couldn't wait to come back home and just sit on my mom's couch. right?
Right.
Sit on the couch, watch TV, or have mom's cooking. Nothing beats it, right? So I came home, and when I left, I was 22.
Yeah.
What's going on in your life when you're 22, man?
It's all about going to school, chasing women, chasing drinks, having
Fucking up.
cars. Yeah, getting arrested a couple times probably, doing the fun stuff. And then you hit, you've been 26 when you came back.
I was 26.
So now you're having babies and you're on the way to the career, and you probably can't go to jail anymore because you're out of those get out of jail for free cards.
Well, you could go to jail. You're just not getting
You
out anytime
could,
soon.
but you're going to end up in the paper, and your mom's going to be like, get the fuck off my couch, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, life's different. And the thing is, and we talked about this briefly earlier, the ticker is still ticking while you're gone. But there's an expectation. It's kind of like when we go on vacation, we come back, and I'm using this as an extreme analogy, but you come back and shit's still kind of the same, but that's not the case for you is what I'm getting.
No, it's totally different. Not only did time not stop, and that sounds really, really, really stupid, but
Right.
When you leave something, you leave it as you remember it, right? So my brother was in 8th grade. He was still living at home.
Yeah.
My other brother was a year younger than me. He was still living at home. He was graduated high school, but he was still in college, right? So I left that dynamic. All of my friends, all my boys, going to school. I mean, every single one of them except for me.
Still playing ball, stuff like that.
The ones that I kept in contact with from the team, yeah. But I'm talking like the dudes from high school.
Yeah.
Right? These guys were all highly intelligent people, so they went on to get master's degrees. So they were in school longer than most. But,
Right.
Every Thursday night, college night, right? So when I got home it was a Monday. I got home on that Monday, went down to Vitale's, the local watering hole. I'm like, yeah, dude, I can't wait to kick it with the homies, man. I miss these guys so much.
Yeah.
Walked in at 10 o'clock on Thursday, nobody's in there.
Right.
Dude, I'm like, what the fuck?
Where you guys at?
Where is everybody? And I'm like looking at my clock like, dude, am I still in California time? Like, what is going on?
Right.
And then like I sat there for probably an hour by myself. And then it just like all came crumbling down on me. Like, oh my God, dude. These guys have houses now.
Yeah.
They have careers. They
Kids.
have kids on the way or kids. They're
Yeah.
getting married, engaged in their career fields. And I am no further along than I was when I was 18. I've just essentially shit away these last 8 years. I am no further along than I was when I was 18. Actually, I'm further behind because I have no job now.
Right.
I have no prospects. I have no out.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I going to do? Because I obviously can't shoot artillery in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
You could.
I could. I just would go
I don't
to
know how
jail.
long it would last, but
So like I'm in the middle of this bar having almost, it wasn't a breakdown. It was just like a realization like,
Right.
holy shit, man. I should not be feeling this way.
right.
Like this is not cool. I went home immediately and I just like kind of pulled into myself. I closed the door in my room and it was just like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
What the hell? And then I started, in hindsight, now I think back to it, it's like, dude, nobody talks about this. Nobody
Right.
prepares you for it. Because, think about the entire time you're on like deployment or even on base.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere without a battle buddy or somebody.
Right.
Right? Dude, I couldn't even take a piss in Iraq without having a buddy. You have to have an accountability buddy or whatever the hell you want to call them.
Right.
Right? And the minute you say, I'm not re-enlisting, I'm getting out,
All that changes.
it's every man for himself.
Yep.
It's like, what the fuck, man? That should not be the case. Right?
Yeah, you
Because-
come back to a city where things aren't the same, where you don't have, a battle buddy, when you look at it like that, is girls going to the bathroom together. That's
Yeah.
like the equivalent of a civilian battle buddy. Other than that, your friends have grown up. You've got to make new friends. Like you said, you have no job. So what do? You come back, just like you said, you were in artillery. You can't run down to the local artillery firing station and suddenly become that. You've got to figure out a different channel. Well, if your last 4 years of your life consisted of that, what do you do? So how did you make that transition? That's a hurdle that 99.9% of these people are going to have to go through. What was your first action when you got done realizing and absorbing what was going on? What'd you do next?
It took me about 10 months to really bottom out.
How much did you drink in that time?
Quite
A lot?
Quite a
Yeah.
bit. I didn't, and I don't drink anymore.
Right.
But
which is shitty because my battle buddy is you typically. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking get drunk. And I got to do it by myself. Well, the good thing is I got someone to drag me out. The bad thing is I'm doing it by myself. So,
Well, I mean, you're not sitting there by yourself. I'm usually sitting
that's
right
true.
next to you.
No, that's true. That's true. It's just easier when you're getting drunk with fellas, you know?
You know, I look back at it now and, you know, just like a random Tuesday night, I'll just go buy a 30-pack, just pound it, be by myself, wait for somebody to call. Mm-hmm. I mean, heaven forbid I took any action to proactively seek out friendship, waited for somebody to call, you know, because I kind of thought of myself as a burden.
Right.
You know, I didn't have a job, I didn't have any fucking money. What am I going to do? You know, I just didn't know, right? So I just wait for somebody to call. Nobody called, then I just pass out and repeat the process.
Yep.
So it took me about 10 months, and around that 10-month time, I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like you just wasted this path that you're on. You just wasted the past 4 years. Mm-hmm. You need to do something. Do something now. And that's where I kind of one foot after another. I got a job at Charter at the call center.
Yeah.
That's the worst fucking job you could possibly think of, man.
Hey, don't say that too loud. Our internet's provided by Charter. I don't want them motherfuckers shutting this off again.
You know, it's pretty incredible that everybody seems to be Brody fucking badass on the phone.
Of course.
You know, like it was always my fault. I couldn't, you know, like
Yeah.
I just took verbal barrages.
You're like, why don't you bring your ass down here and let's talk about that disconnected
I'm in
service.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Come on out.
My address is 123 Main Street.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting for you.
You know, but I couldn't do that. And,
Yeah.
it was just kind of one of those things where I could not defend myself. I just felt like everybody was attacking me. Mm-hmm. I was there for 3 years. I hated it. And I got paid good money and I won a lot of awards, but it wasn't anything I enjoyed doing.
No, they don't mean shit. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yes, they mean something at that point in time, but it's not like you leave and go to the next company and say, hey, I'm an awarded top salesperson for Q3 with Charter Communications. They're like, we don't give a fuck. You're selling mortgages over here.
So the good thing about, you know, having no regrets in your life, you know, you find all that shitty stuff. Like, yeah, I could sit here and bitch all day long about what was going on in Charter. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me is I met my wife there. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's not a mistake.
No.
That's a win.
Yep.
Right? So Charter was going through some changes, and I just didn't agree with it, and I just refused to conform because you're not going to get me, man. You know? So I just did things my own way until you walk me out the door.
Right.
And that's when I started winning a shit ton of awards.
Yeah.
When I just didn't give a fuck.
You start pressing the limits.
They eventually got rid of the entire sales force. And I was one of the middle people to go, but I went back to school. And it's a pretty incredible the outlook you have on school once you have a mature mindset.
Yes.
You know, school is not here to support my drinking habit.
Right. It's here so I can actually learn.
Yeah.
No free crayons.
Yeah. I had to buy that shit, man.
Right.
Well, I used my GI Bill, so I mean, I guess it was kind of free.
Yeah.
You know?
Free crayons.
I went back to school, and I essentially made up three college years in one calendar year.
Holy shit.
Just by you know, maximum effort.
Did you,
like that pool says,
major liberal arts or?
No, it was a business degree.
Nice. I didn't realize you had a business degree. That's awesome.
So I made it all. I made up the time, and I just became prideful of it.
Right.
You know? But I was still stuck in this rut. Like I felt like there was something missing, and I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't put my finger on it. All right. But at the time of our lives, we needed to drastically decrease our bills.
Right.
Right. I was living with my then fiance. She was getting ready to start the nursing program, and she was going to quit her job. So we were going to go down to one income, just mine.
Any kids at this point?
We had Ava.
So you have three to support, and you're dropping down to one income. Mm-hmm. Ouch.
All right, and we had one on the way. So we're going from this big house where it was too big for us, but it was a rental, and it was $1,400 a month. Well, my piddly salary at the time when I got hired in at Planet Fitness was not. It was embarrassingly low.
Yeah.
Okay. I got hired in at Planet Fitness because I just needed a mindless front desk job to get me through school.
Right.
My unemployment was running out. My GI Bill was not enough to support us. So I got hired in at Planet Fitness making $9 an hour.
Oh,
And I was the highest paid employee too.
Jesus.
But within 3 days,
What year is this?
2012.
Yeah, so not too long ago.
So 2012, I got hired in at Planet Fitness. I'm still going to school, and I'm just really struggling, okay? That because of the structure and the way Planet Fitness was and the schooling that I was going through at the time,
Right.
everything just aligned. It was like the perfect timing's everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yet even though I was getting paid donkey nuts for payment, I was able to explore my capabilities and what I was able to, I was able to push the limits.
Right.
What am I actually capable of? And that was the greatest job that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because it really allowed me to explore who the fuck I am. Because the owners still had day jobs. So we had all day to fuck up and
Right.
all day to fix our mistakes. By the time that we reported to them by 6:30, we had the mistakes taken care of and fixed, right?
Gotcha.
But we were given the keys of the kingdom without any guidance or anything.
Right.
That's where I started to notice the traits in the background start kicking in. The military started overcoming, and I was like, something's building. What is this? So I mean, this is about 4 years after the transition.
Yeah.
And from there, I quickly became the manager of managers, a regional manager, had 4 gyms underneath me, 200 employees,
Damn.
college degree, but I was still struggling. The thing that allowed me to really transition was the fact that 3 things happened all in the same year. It's 2013. And this is where the stars started aligning for me, and there was a light at the end of the tunnel and all that stuff.
Right.
First, we purchased the home. Okay. I started noticing something where, dude, I was like Marine Corps flag in the middle of the yard. I'm running around wearing a Star Spangled Banner,
Fucking
tank
America.
top,
Yeah.
just America, Marine Corps. I became super prideful of being a veteran.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted no acknowledgement. I wanted just that does not have any bearing on this conversation.
So let me ask you this. Let me rewind into that because you're going to skip over it if I don't. So the super prideful Marine, here's what I do. Did that come with success and you're looking at things in your life and things are going great? You got a home, you got kids, you got a wife, you got a good career, and now you're looking back like, wow, the Marine Corps helped me do this? Or was it just to me, it sounds like there was some shame in the fact that you were a veteran to some degree, maybe because it wasn't as patriotic and supported as it is now. I feel like our country has changed in a positive direction where Americans are patriotic again. They're no longer just like, oh yeah, we live in America, greatest place on earth. Now it's like, fuck yeah, here's our flag, here's our country, here's our veterans, There's a different charge when you drive down for me, when I drive down the street and I see an American flag, I see pride, What was it for you?
It was, I can't really pinpoint it. It was just, I just didn't care. What I did in the Marine Corps should not have any bearing on this conversation that we're having.
Right.
It should not make you want to buy a gym membership from me. It should not make you like me more or less.
Right.
So I never brought it up. Even to this day, I have a hard time. If there is any veterans in the stands, can you please stand so we can acknowledge you? I hate that.
Yeah.
It's the attention that I don't want. But because selfishly, the way I thought was, I didn't fucking do it for you.
Right.
I did it for me. I needed to get the hell out of here. How can I say thank you for you saying thank you when I don't fucking care?
Right.
This has nothing to do with you. This is me, right? But what I know now is that that's their way of serving. So I owe it to them to say something back. Thank you, or I owe it to my daughter to show her what a true patriot looks like. So I'm over that now. But the 3 things, I purchased the home. I had a Marine who I served with had taken his own life. And this family gathering, all right? So the home happens. We purchase it, use my VA home loan benefit. Everybody looked at me like I had a dick growing out of my forehead.
You still do.
What is this? A VA what?
Yeah. Of a loan?
I'm supposed to be asking you these questions, right? Aren't you a mortgage professional? So purchase the home.
Yeah.
Sheer grit, reluctantness. we closed in like 90 days,
Right.
whatever it was. Then I found out this Marine had taken his life. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like, how would, dude, we did the same deployments, we saw the same things, we did the same shit. And how did he go that route? And I'm over here, I'm doing okay. I'm not thriving, I'm doing okay.
Right.
What's the difference? How do we veer off? Like, where does this go?
Right.
And it's the golden question that nobody can answer, because you cannot understand what a person mindset is like when they're in that mindset.
If we could,
correct,
there'd be a lot less fucking.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm trying to answer this question, and I can't find the answer, and it still bothers me to this day that I can't answer it. But for about 3.5 months, I struggled with it, and we were at a family gathering. My cousin was there. He was in the Army. He was deployed for 3 years, and he's deployed for 3.5 years. His contract was for 3 years.
Right.
And yeah, do the math on that. I mean, his adrenaline needle was pegged for 3 fucking years, and he still to this day has a very hard time with PTSD and all that stuff. But we're sitting there having a conversation at this family gathering, and we're just carrying on. We're just hobnobbing, shooting shit, bros from the block, right?
Right.
He gets up to go grab another drink, and his brother comes over to me and goes, it's really good to see him talking to somebody again.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, you're the only one he talks to. I was like, well, shut the fuck up.
Right.
And then it's just like, oh, dude.
It dawned on you.
It's the brotherhood, man.
Yep.
Fuck. Okay, I got to do something, man. I just can't. I got to do something. Something. Like, I don't know what it was. Something was pushing me to do something more. I have to share my stories. I have to talk to other veterans. I have, because now, knowing what I know now, there's 700,000 veterans in the state of Michigan.
Wow.
That's 700,000 people that have been through exactly what I went through. Like the neighbor across my street at my parents' house. When I moved back home, I found out he passed away 8 months after I moved back. He was a Marine, stormed the Black Beaches, World War II. Iwo Jima, man.
Yeah.
Like, those guys walk on water.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Do you think that he could have helped me?
I'm sure.
Do you think his stories would have been fucking badass?
His
and cool
stories
as shit
probably
to hear?
would have fucking knocked your dick in the dirt. Yeah.
Like, I would have loved to sit down with him, but I was too fucking stubborn and just closed
Do you think it's stubborn, or do you think that maybe there's hey, nobody else feels like this. Nobody else feels like I do. I'm fucked up in my head. This is the way I feel, and nobody else feels this way.
You just feel alone. You don't realize that there's other people out there.
Well, and you're surrounded.
And that's the hard part.
You're surrounded. It went from you and hundreds of other troops.
Yeah, even the shittiest shitbag that you can think of was always there.
To you and hundreds of civilians, people that don't get it.
People that don't understand you, and these snowflakes that you just offend by saying their name wrong.
Well, I will say this.
Not Sarah.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
My bad.
Sorry.
It's LaDasha.
Yeah.
The dash is silent. No, the good thing about this podcast is no snowflakes listen to this, because if they did, they would have been offended like episode 0.001. Like, they would have read the description and be like, fuck this. So, no, I think, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, civilians haven't been through those things. So there's hey, you know what? They're not going to get it anyways. So why fucking bore them with my story? And I think, in my opinion, civilians need to do what we need to do on our behalf to make sure that we're there to support our troops when they come back. That buddy that you used to kick it with, and he was gone for 2 years and comes back, you need to still reach out and say, hey, man, I'm still your friend. Let's go grab a beer. Not just the glory days of coming back and hanging out, but the long-term friendships. I realize that things progress. It would be impossible for a person to be gone a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, without the world still circling without them to some degree. But I think as Americans, we owe it to our veterans to look out for people, look out for one another, look out for civilians need to look out for each other for one, but for our veterans when they come back and say, hey, you need someone to talk to? I'm here. Do you need, you want to go hang out? You want to come over for a cookout? Whatever.
Well, that's great on paper, and that's great for your world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
But there's so many people that are afraid to do that.
Afraid of what, though? What do you think it's in your opinion?
They're afraid. They are afraid to offend a veteran. They don't know how to talk to them. They're just afraid to take that first step. Like that's what I deal with a lot
Right.
with the agents I deal with. So I've changed the way I present my class.
Yeah.
And I share these stories. I share every single story that I possibly can.
So they know.
So I can help them understand how a veteran thinks and how a veteran feels and how they're going to act.
Mm-hmm.
And, we do a lot of role playing in the,
Role playing, huh?
During class. Yeah.
Like, I got a robe. So,
but it's to help them understand what it's like dealing with a veteran so that they're not so scared or timid to reach out and help somebody.
but a veteran's in my opinion, you're the same, is not the same as me necessarily because I'm better looking, but we all operate the same. I mean, no, the thing is how it is. I'll walk up to you, what's up, fuck dick, or something like that out of fun. But, I don't look at you and think, oh, my God, this dude's a vet. He could fucking kill me, right?
You're different, man. You're different.
But the disconnect, I don't see that because maybe I've worked with so many veterans over the years, or I don't know what it is.
And a lot of veterans are also afraid to even mention the fact that they are veterans.
Yeah.
Right? I can't, even to this day, when right now, I'm comfortable saying I'm a veteran. I served in the Marine Corps and all that stuff. I'm just not going to randomly drop, hey, I guess I was in the Marine Corps.
You're going to walk through and be like, hey, excuse me, Shoney's, I need my 15% discount. Yeah, my veteran discount.
I still have a hard time asking for that.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys that I don't go out for my free meal.
Yeah.
I don't want to go get it.
Yeah, it's like you're taking advantage of it. And, like a lot of veterans struggle with, the fact that they're not going to file a disability claim because they're healthy, air quotes.
Yeah.
And they want that money to go to somebody else. No, that's not the case. That's not what happens. That money goes somewhere else. If you don't use it, you lose
Somebody else spends it for something else.
And I didn't realize that at all until I had this Marine who was like hell-bent and adamant on, dude, I don't care if you're healthy or not, you're filing a disability claim. This is how you do it. So he spends 2 hours explaining it to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'm not doing it.
Right.
I'm healthy. This needs to go to somebody else. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to be here every day until you file it. Because his wife worked third shift at Planet, and I took over for his wife at 5:45 a.m.
Yeah.
At 5:30 in the morning, you just don't want to deal with anybody.
Right.
So 10 days later, I filed my claim.
It took me 3 years to file my claim.
And
it took me almost 4.
And regardless if let's say you don't want it. All right, here's the one thing I know. The government's going to allocate and spend money the way they want to. The only other alternative, sorry, I can't spit that out for some reason, is for you to get that money and decide how to spend it. I'll give you an example. So one of the things, and by the time this airs, the election and everything will be over, but I'm going to take a portion of what I get from the city for being an alderman, and I'm going to take that and give it back to veterans and firefighters and things like that. Because the nice thing is I can take that money and allocate it like I want to. If I leave it with the city and say, no, I don't want it, I want you guys to put that back, they get to understand how to spend it. So as a veteran, if you really don't want that disability, you can still do something with it. If it's available to you and you can capture that extra money, then go donate it to the fucking Wounded Warrior or VFW or 92 for 22 or something like that and walk away from it.
Here's another one. Well, if my employer finds out I'm disabled, they're going to fire me.
Yeah.
But they can't.
They can't legally.
Speaking of that, that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't get hired for a good 6-7 months.
Yeah.
And I said that I was a veteran. It was like almost instantaneously.
Oh, you're going to go crazy and shoot everybody, and that's not all veterans.
Meanwhile, we got guns in the office and shit. I'm showing them where they're at day one. I'm like, this over here has got a magazine in. There's bullets.
Are these loaded?
I'm like, fuck
okay,
yeah.
I'm glad they are.
Condition 1. Okay, AJ.
They're all loaded. They're good to go. I mean, if shit gets to
compliant.
Before you get here.
if shit gets to popping off, though, I want the train guy to know where the shit's at. No, but I mean, and I get that. There used to be a time when I was a kid, when I was younger, and I worked for Wendy's, was the first place I ever worked for as a fry guy. Here you are, 15-year-old kid, already struggling with acne, and you're fucking standing over boiling grease all the time. But the one thing I learned, you fill out the application, it says, are you a United States veteran or are you an American veteran or something? I can't remember the exact terminology at that point in time because it has changed. And there was a prideful thing. My grandpa was in the Navy. He's like, if you're a veteran and you check that box, you'll get hired no matter where you go because you're a United States veteran. Now, it's completely different. Me, myself, I see some qualities when you work with a veteran. You've got a person that's detailed, they're disciplined, they know how to follow orders for the most part. Let me preface that. For the most part, your majority will get shit done every time, no questions asked. So to not see a benefit in hiring veterans that are qualified for a position, I have to also say that because I am an employer, but it doesn't make sense not to, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, how else could you explain the disparity in the wage gap?
Yeah.
You know, the wage gap between a veteran family and a non-veteran family is what, $32,000 per year?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because we got our priorities fucked up, you know?
Because a military, like, I can speak for myself, and probably you too. When I do something, I'm fucking proud of it.
Yeah.
Right? I take initiative. I go, you know, if I see something needs to be done, I'm going to do it.
Right.
You know, I'm at least going to take the initiative to do it. I might fuck something up, but guess
you'll
what?
fix it.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Your greatest successes are born from your failures.
Yep.
You know,
Well,
and that's why you should never have any regrets for anything
and let
that
me
you've
say,
ever done.
the priorities fucked up portion of it is, as individuals, we don't go to work typically with that disciplined mind to walk in the door and say, all right, I got to do this, 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 and this. Usually, you walk in the door and you're like, fuck, I don't want to be here today. And I really don't want to do this. I'm going to put it off. And that's why you see that gap there. Because some people go in and they get shit done. Other people just go in and I don't know what the fuck they do. I know what I do. But
You know, I mean, you know, that could be a whole nother podcast. It's you know, when I worked at Planet, we paid peanuts and Cracker Jacks to our employees. Let's be honest.
What if they had a peanut allergy?
Then they would just get the Cracker Jack. All right. But, and I wouldn't have cared. I would have thrown peanuts at them. No, I'm just kidding.
You just got the nuts.
You know, we paid minimum wage. And if you made it a year, then we gave you a 35% raise or some shit. I don't know. It was stupid. But we would hire 18 to 21-year-old kids, college kids.
Yep.
And the sense of entitlement and the...
Dude, that's a whole nother fucking podcast right there. You said entitlement. That's like a trigger word for me.
And the fact that, you know, you know how many times a day I would say, dude, the desk is doing a fantastic job holding itself up. You don't need to help it.
Yep.
Go do something.
Yeah.
There should not be 14 people behind the desk.
Right.
There's 92 pieces of cardio that need to be cleaned.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be the only one out here cleaning. Well, they ride the coattails of everybody else, and you know, just because you graduated fucking high school, you all of a sudden are a president of a company. Whoop-de-fucking-do! I graduated high school too. I went to war twice. What do you got?
Right. Yep.
Right.
I mean, that's a good point. You know, and that's you don't even want to get into entitlement stuff. Literally, this podcast right now is 38 minutes long. This motherfucker would be 6 days, 3 hours, and 38 minutes long by the time we get done with that.
Nothing
that's
but
just
fuck every other word.
Well, I mean, I am surprised that we've actually contained ourselves. So it's funny because I had a listener one time, they reached out and they said, hey, you cuss a lot in your podcast. I'm like, no shit. You know, you don't say. But people don't realize that it's a way to push out when you feel passionate about something. Me saying fuck isn't just doing it because I'm like, oh, that'll sound real good right there. Yeah. You know, it's like I say it because it's with passion. It's like, man, fuck that. You know, I'm okay with not doing that. Doesn't sound as good as, man, fuck that. Yeah. You know, so, but yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. The biggest thing is, Brad, you know, there's no question about it. Veterans come and they come back and they have different ways of dealing with things. And your story probably is extremely similar to a lot of people's stories when they come back. You know, and this is huge for you to share, for one, because people need to know that they're not the only person out there. And I know this message will at least reach one person that listens to it and says, you know what? Fuck, that sounds just like my story. You know, yeah. And that's the thing. We're all alike in some form or fashion, you know, whether you serve, didn't serve, the things you go through, just like my story early on in the podcast where I talk about things I've been through in life. I know those stories have resonated with at least one or two people and helped people. And that's what you've done today. By sharing those intimate portions about yourself, you know, that's something that somebody will listen to this and they'll get something out of it. And so I greatly appreciate you having the balls to do so, for one, because it takes a lot. You know, nobody ever wants to feel like they're, air quotes, broken, you know, to some degree, or that thing's
vulnerable.
Yeah, vulnerable, broken, you know, different, anything like that. Nobody wants to feel that way. So the fact you were able to share that, I greatly appreciate it. The fact that I basically got my own Echo Charles over here. He just doesn't say shit. He's just quiet. He's like, yeah, I'm over here in my Echo Charles. No, I'm just fucking with it.
No.
He'll learn who Jocko and Echo Charles and everything. He doesn't know right now.
Like the main thing with the transition, it sucks to think about when we combine forces, Army, Marine Corps, Navy, you name it. We join forces.
What about the Coast Guard?
Air Force, Coast Guard, you name it. We join forces. We go to war. We kick ass and take names. We're the mightiest fighting forces world ever will see.
Yes. Well, and the thing is,
why the fuck can't that be applied when you're getting out? And why can't that be applied to us veterans?
You have to unite in numbers.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. Find somebody.
I wish to God the VFW and American Legion would actually update their ways, and because I think they'd be fantastic.
They could start by fucking updating their halls.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Change their ways, because there's a big divide between the two veteran classes.
Tell me something. So you got a shirt on. I'm going to interrupt you because Luis won't, but I will. 92 for 22. Tell me a little bit about that. I know that you've inserted yourself in a way that you can really help veterans. You get out there. You're a huge supporter of this organization. Tell me about 92 for 22 and what it means.
All right. So 92 for 22 is a nonprofit formed by two Marines who both of these guys were in heavy combat. Ramadi Fallujah, Cornago Valley or whatever, right? So, I mean, they saw heavy combat.
Yeah.
And they were both really struggling big time. And their girls, his wife and his fiance got Bart and Christian together, and they're like, you guys need to go do something.
Yep.
So they went out and coyote hunted
out
in Michigan, right? So they had this idea that they needed to do something, right? Kind of like that same feeling I was telling you about. Like I needed to do something, was pushing me to do something.
Yeah.
So they decided that they were going to walk from Grand Rapids, Michigan to Cadillac, Michigan, which is 92 miles.
Wow.
In honor of the 22 veterans that take their life every day.
Yeah.
So that's where the 92 for 22 comes from.
Nice.
All right. But during that first walk, they decided, we're onto something here. There's nobody really here in West Michigan that's drawing attention and awareness to this. We need to bring it to the foresight. So they formed a nonprofit in April of 2018.
Yeah.
Just last year.
Yeah.
I caught wind of their organization in August of 2018, and there's a lot of things that I've done as a loan officer or overcame because I'm a small business owner technically. To help them streamline their process. So when I got involved, I helped them with marketing, advertising, their admin stuff on the back end. Who would have thought a lead capture form would be the way to register a volunteer and or a participant in a walk?
Yeah.
Who would have thought that?
Yep.
Right? So I streamlined their processes, saved them 20 plus hours a week on admin bullshit.
Wow.
And we had over 140 participants in our fall walk.
In a walk. For how long?
22 kilometers.
Jesus.
22 kilometers. So every kilometer we honored a veteran who took their life.
Wow.
And we got a bunch of Marine Corps poolies out there.
Yeah.
The poolies getting ready to go into the Marine Corps.
Yep.
They're our flag bearers, and they're the ones that were getting hazed the whole 22 kilometers, man.
Yeah.
These guys would stand guard at the station.
Right.
Wait for every single person to pass, and they'd have to run all the way
Past
to the
everybody.
front, get to the next station. It's like, yes, we're hazing them. This is awesome. So now we're getting ready for our 92-mile walk, which unfortunately I won't be able to participate in because I'll be at the VA Lender Conference. Yeah. And participating in Boot and Shoot.
That's a whole nother podcast,
yeah,
Boot and Shoot.
Yeah. But, it's amazing what happens to you as a veteran when you start getting involved in giving back to your fellow veterans.
Yes.
Me being a VA home loan specialist, knowing that providing a home to a veteran, I'm impacting that 22 in a positive way.
Right.
Because providing a home to a veteran, don't you think that they're less likely to go down the path of suicide?
It gives them something
sense of
that they
purpose
can
and ownership.
Yes,
and
exactly.
That's exactly what I got when I purchased a home.
Well, and the thing we have to remember, and this is not me throwing stones at other people, but when you're dealing with our veterans and you're dealing with them getting into a home, you need to be as versed and educated about this product as any other product in the world. Because you're literally talking about people that have fought to earn this privilege to have this VA home loan. And if you fuck that up, you may be doing more damage than you think. This isn't just a simple, oh, sorry, we can't get you approved today. It goes much deeper than that. So if you're working with veterans, please do what you can to do your homework on the front end to make sure you are as educated as possible. And if you're not, either pass it on to somebody who is, or get the help, enlist the help of somebody who is well-trained and well-versed in the VA home loan.
I had a fantastic conversation on the way down here with a client that I got pre-approved because they were told no.
Yeah.
Because her husband has only been working at his current job for 9 months. He's working at this place called something packaging, advanced packaging or something like that.
I'll package.
So,
Go ahead.
so what does he do there? Oh, he bundles packages together for shipment.
Yeah.
Roger that. What was the job before? He worked at Lowe's. So you're telling me at Lowe's he never repackaged any items?
Right.
He never put anything on a pallet and wrapped it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it all the time. Okay. How long was he there? He was there for 8 months. Okay, so now we're not to 2 years yet. What was what was the job before? Oh, he was at Home Depot. Boom, there's your 2 years, pre-approved, got it. I call her this morning on the way down here, and I tell her, I'm like, I got you pre-approved for $225,000. She goes, you are amazing, and she just started bawling.
Yeah.
The most incredible conversation I could possibly, you talk about the greatest start to your day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just made her dream come true, and I'm not a miracle worker.
No.
I didn't do anything fancy.
But you understood. Here's the thing.
Exactly.
You took your map out and you navigated a path and you said, okay, here's our checks right here.
Yep.
And as we progress to this, as long as we hit all these checks, then we're good to go.
Establish your base of operation.
Yep, that's all you did.
Establish your base of operation and launch your tactical assaults from it.
I did the same thing. I got a guy that's closing Friday. He was actually discharged from the Marines with severe PTSD, and he was hospitalized when he was discharged. Super nice guy. I mean, this is a guy, like, at first I'm talking to him, and, you try to be proper, and you're like, so, Mr., XYZ, how are you today?
To be proper?
Yeah, and then you're like, by the time, here we talk at close, we're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? I can't hear shit in the background, So, really great guy, but that's the thing, is he had a gap, so he was hospitalized for an extended period of time, and he had no employment. Right. So what we did is we went back to what he did in the military and what he's doing now. He works for the Army Corps of Engineers, And so now he's doing something that's very similar to a degree of what he did, but we had to explain that gap. Most people would have looked at that because he's been on his job for 6 months, and they would have said,
nope, done.
Not going to work. And that would have fucked this guy up because that's all the guy wants. He just wants a house for him and his family. They're getting into something modest, and this helps. He's told me before, hey, this helps me, knowing that this is going to happen helps me quite a bit. And I talked to him the other day, and I said, what are you doing? He said, I don't know if I should be packing yet or not. I said, you better start packing your shit. I said, how the fuck are you going to move if you don't have your shit packed yet? He's like, really? Really? You think I should?
I just don't know if it's going to go through.
He didn't know if it was going to go through. I said, I told you at the get-go. I remember driving down Highway 10, I think. No, it was in California, 51, I think it was. And driving through there, talking to him on the phone and explaining to him, do this, do this, do this. He had a DFAS account that needed to be paid back because it was an overpayment. So he paid that off, and he repaired his credit issues. The thing is, and here's the difference with veterans, I gave him a window. I said, all right, you need to fix this in 3 weeks. He calls me like 6 days later. He's like, hey, I just paid all these off. Are we good now? He got it done. He knew what he had to do.
I just forewent the beer for the night.
Yeah, exactly. I went out and I cut people's grass with scissors, and they paid me for it now. But, I mean, this is a guy getting ready to close. This could have been an easy fuck-up. Somebody could have got this and said, man, credit score's this is that. This ain't going to happen. But if there's a will, there's a way. And you and I both know when it comes to the VA home loan, if you can document the reason why you approved the person, they're okay with it. The VA will accept that 9 times out of 10 if you as an underwriter can write down, here's why I felt this person was creditworthy. Yep. So,
and if you never quit on the VA home loan, it will go through.
Yeah.
There's always a fucking way.
You just got to keep pushing.
I draw back constantly to the feeling that I had when I signed on that dotted line for my home.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I had. And that dude, I fight with every fucking ounce of my being each and every day for my fellow veterans to give that to them.
Yep. It's huge.
Because if at the end of the day, if I impact just one person, just one of the 22, dude, I'm sleeping like a fucking bear for 3 days.
Yeah, if you make it a 21 for that day instead of a 22, I mean, just think if we can knock that number down to 21 a day.
Dude, collectively, the real estate community could do a big fucking dent in
They
that
could do
22.
huge. Yeah. That's the thing is people don't realize how important their job was. Luis and I talked about this before it came on, that my mission is to serve veterans, to help them achieve the dream of homeownership and to do so in a way that was, as easy as can be for them. I guess it's a simple way to break it down. And that was my mission.
Break it down, Army style.
Break it down. but that was my mission initially, that's what I told him my mission was, because that's what I believe in is getting these people in their home, getting them what they deserve and focusing on that and making it happen. A typical VA, FHA, or not, I'm sorry, not VA, FHA conventional loan, those are going to be hit or miss. But the passion you can put into these VA loans, and that's what I talked to Luis about before he came on. That was part of him coming on was, hey, I have a way where I can help, my brothers and sisters that I served with as well. I think that resonated with them because now we have a way to help more people together.
I challenge you.
Not be gay.
All
the time.
Build out a network of people. I mean, right now where I'm at in my career, if I take 10 calls from 10 veterans and let's say they all have a 500 FICO score, every single one of them, any other loan officer is going to say that that's a shit day.
Yep.
That's just a horrible day.
Yep.
But I took the time, I did my due diligence, and I vetted a lot of freaking companies in my area and found a roster of companies in which I can connect veterans with immediately, right? So if they don't have the FICO score right now and they are about to be, them and their family are about to be kicked out on the streets, I have a company in my back pocket that offers 3 months rent-free, fully furnished apartment to a veteran and their family in need.
Yeah.
Right? So knowing what we know about credit, we're not credit repair specialists by any means, but we can fix most credit issues within 3 months, especially if you're not paying rent.
Yeah.
That money can go towards your credit repair.
Right.
Right? And if we can't get that fixed in 3 months, they will do another 3 month extension. So up to a half a year. And this is just because I went down to the local veteran organization building, took all the flyers off the fucking wall, went back to my office, and just start calling them.
Yeah.
And if they didn't say what I wanted them to say within the first 2 minutes or they couldn't articulate it, see you later.
Yeah.
You're full of shit.
No, and that's something with having Luis on board that we can definitely go through and do. There's some leverage when you have somebody that understands the whole process and everything else that's intertwined with it, as opposed to me that's just passionate. Yeah. Because I'd be like, fuck you.
Because I refuse to be the guy that says no.
Yeah.
No, I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you, man. Your family and your kids,
that's the shit that keeps you up at night.
I might as well just load the fucking gun for him, man.
Yeah.
I refuse to be that guy. I'm going to give you some sort of outlet, any way that I can, some sort of help. Now, I can lead a horse to water. I just can't make him drink, right? Give him all the resources because, shit, dude, I wish I knew the resources that were available to me at the time that I got out.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish I would have filed unemployment. As stupid as that sounds, I was too proud and stubborn to file it. So I'm literally driving around with like an eighth tank of gas from Cleveland to Detroit to a Tigers game, and I'm too embarrassed to ask my dad for money for gas.
Yep.
So I run out of gas on the way back to Cleveland. So I walk my ass. I don't even know how many fucking miles back to my apartment, but dude, that's super embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's rock bottom. But I was just too proud to even say I needed help. But
well, the thing is too is there's people out there. You just need to, as citizens, I feel like we need to connect ourselves with people. You know this guy that we talked about the one day that there was a gentleman that posted something that was eerily either red flags, and what do? We jump in action. I didn't know the guy from a hole in the ground, but it's a human being that showed signs of, hey, he needs a little bit of help.
Swirling the bowl.
Yep, and that's what it is. I mean, we have to be aware of what goes on. Pull our heads out of our ass and out of our phone and look down and say, all right, who needs my help today? That's what I encourage the listeners. If you're listening to this, ask yourself each day, who can I help today? And it may be that you help the old lady that's trying to cross the street.
Not even that, dude. Just reach out to a veteran and say, hey, what up?
Send a Facebook message. Yeah. Say, hey, what's up, dick face?
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how much that resonates. Exactly. I do it all the time. Hey, what's up, dick face?
Yeah.
Or just, hey, how's it going? How you been? How's the family?
Hey,
how's
I was just
the kids?
thinking about you.
Right.
Dude, that goes such a long way because, again, veterans think that they're all by themselves.
Well,
they just think that they're alone. There's nobody to turn to or lean on.
Yep.
So, I mean, that goes such a long way.
And it's such a simple task.
Yeah.
I mean, but don't sit down and ask that question if you can't allocate time for that person if they're actually thinking about something. If you're going to ask that question, be able to sit down and say, oh, you're having a bad day? What's up? Don't be like, oh, I'll talk to you later about it. Then it's wasted efforts. So, but anyways, this podcast has been awesome. Now, it's been as long as can be. We're at almost an hour so far.
54 minutes.
54 minutes. We're banging this thing out.
I've spoken 5 words.
That's all right. You've spoken 6 now. It's now, shh, your time's up, Echo Charles. So, Brad, thanks again for being on the podcast today. Thanks again for sharing your story. Obviously, I hope this reaches somebody. I hope somebody finds a little bit of assistance or help with it. Closing messages, anything?
No, thanks for having me on, man. Separate 5, brother.
Thanks again for tuning in. Sorry, I had a cough back there. I tried to mute out my mic. Thanks again for tuning in. We will talk to you soon.